What's up, everybody? It's TraderNeil here. Thanks for coming to this week's stream. We're going to talk BTC, talk some altcoins, and I'm just going to let you know my thoughts on this market and where I see things going. Before we get started, guys, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could just scroll down, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn your alerts on so you never miss any of my videos. But other than that, I think we can go ahead and get started. And first coin we're going to start out with is BTC. As you guys know, I went ahead and took a head short here on Bitcoin. Really, reason being, I was looking at order flow and CBD was starting to bifurcate with the higher high comparatively with lower highs on CBD. So that was one reason. And then just overall, guys, like we hit the golden pocket zone here on this retrace from high to low, which is another one of like the biggest reasons why I took the short. And overall, one thing that's interesting to me is this low on BTC, this 56,411 low. I'm surprised that we didn't come down to at least, say for example here, to at least take the liquidity out on that wick before we went up. So honestly, what I'm expecting here, guys, not necessarily expecting, but one thing that I wouldn't be surprised to see at this point is if on BTC we actually come and sweep this low before having a real move to the upside. It's just an unprotected low here. We didn't take the liquidity after we made it, so all the longs that longed here at this low, basically, they haven't been hunted yet. They just longed and didn't even get their stops tapped back in entry or anything like that. So I'm personally thinking that we might actually come down to see those lows. I mean, right now on lower time frames, we got a sweep on BTC here, as you guys can see. Basically put in this swing high, came up, took the liquidity at it, and had a push down. And personally, guys, I'm looking at it sort of like this. If we end up coming down and breaking down below this current like lower time frame range low, then I would not be surprised if we start pushing down from here. Let me put on my levels here. There we go. So we are currently right above monthly open here. So this would be an important level to hold on BTC if we want to have like a higher push here, at least short term. If we lose monthly open, then I'd be looking for lower prices. And so an area where I think we could get a nice bounce is this daily open golden pocket level over here. I think that would be actually an area for a nice scalp long. Let's go ahead and take a volume pull as well. I'll go ahead and take it from about right here to where we are now. Okay. So you have a pretty good amount of confluence here. Just want to make this as accurate as possible. Okay. So I think what I would be personally interested in here, guys, is taking a scalp long here at this value area high and daily open area for something like this. I think especially going into a weekend, guys, you don't want to be looking for any swings, and you would be essentially filling this imbalance too on the 15-minute, this big green candle. So I think this would be a nice risk reward setup. I mean, it's 2.61, but you could raise that just a little bit. And the way I'd be looking at this is if you close like a 15-minute candle below these lows at 58,850, then I would get out of this scalp. But as long as you hold that, I think this could, there's a good amount of confluence there. And not only did you take the highs on this candle, the highs here on the lower time frames, you got some 15-minute bear divs, so at least a short-term pullback would not surprise me. Nice. Over 116 viewers. I think someone won the $100. Congratulations, Mr. Crypto Pills. What is not a scalp after 4 hours? I would say that, for me, 4 hour and above, that's when you start getting into more of a swing trade situation. Anything that's like the hourly and below, that's, to me, most of the time it's going to be a scalp. Then overall, guys, my thoughts on BTC when it comes to like higher time frame levels. Let me see if I have that chart pulled up. Got one with a 52K area that I'm looking at for a long. Yeah, it is this one. What am I saying? Okay. So not only here, guys, at 52K do we have this daily and 12-hour demand zone here, order block, whatever you want to call it, between 55 and really the top being like 52.8. You also have a higher time frame golden pocket fib pool, which you can see from this swing low here to this swing high at 74K. And so at the moment, until we lose 56,371, our last low on a 4-hour closure, then I don't think we'll get these lows yet. It might take a while, but if we do close under that level at 56,370 on the 4-hour, then I wouldn't be surprised if we have a move down here in the near future. And overall, this would be a nice swing long opportunity, not just a scalp. So I would even bank on this being the low, taking something like that. You just have a lot of confluence in that area. And so I think there's good reasons to take that higher time frame swing trade if we get it. I'm not saying we will, but just to be prepared. Yep, so again, my YouTube channel, it is TraderNeil right here. If you guys want to subscribe, like, everything, this video will be up later this afternoon. So enjoy, and I appreciate your guys' support. Alright, so that is my thoughts on BTC here. Let's take a look at Ethereum as well. So ETH here actually does not look too bad, guys. Not at all. And so I had a couple people asking me here, like they were like, hey, like looks like ETH lost support on the 4-hour, and this was on Wednesday, and they're like, why are you taking longs on ETH? Because I did take a long at 29.81. And I was like, well, it kind of depends on your perspective and the time frame you're on. So for me, I was on the 4-hour, and even here all the way up to the 12-hour, you can see on ETH 28.98. That's pretty high time frame support. I mean, you've got the swing low being put in here. You've got multiple hits of support there as well. And now you even form some divergence. So I see it on the 12-hour. Do you have it on the daily? Let's see. Lower lows. Yeah, you technically do have a drive of bullish divergence on the RSI on the daily on Ethereum, as you can see. lower lows on price action on the daily, and then higher lows on the RSI. Technically, you could, here's my thing, like you hit the 50 level here on the RSI after this first drive of daily bullish divergence, like as you can see, lower lows, higher lows here. So that's a drive of daily bull divs, but that basically played out in my opinion with this push up. And so now that you hit the 50 level on the RSI and came down, made another higher low on the RSI here with more daily closes under, you at least have one fresh drive of daily bull divs. Okay, so that's still valid for me. So as long as you're above, guys, as long as you're really above right here on the daily, about 29.17, you're good on ETH. And to me, this has the potential for higher prices. You could make the argument you're forming a bit of like a wedge situation here. I would say this is technically valid. I mean, you do have constricting price action. And then overall, if you do lose that level on ETH, then that's when you can be like, okay, time to start looking for other higher time frame levels to be aware of. Pull this across here. Move this up just a bit, about right there. Okay. So you lose 29.17 on ETH on the daily, then 26.47 down to 24.78 is where I'd be looking for next. And you have a fresh daily level right there too. So to me, just another opportunity for another long. You already, let's see, yep, you already took the liquidity right here on this daily here on this wick, so this is no longer a valid support for me. Yeah, you could play a scalp off the SFP of this wick possibly if you come down to it, but other than that, I would not be interested in a swing long till 26.41 that I've drawn down here. So again, like, could have a possible SFP for a scalp, but again, no swing longs till you get these lower prices. Hopefully that makes sense. You take a fib pool here from these lows to this high. See if you got an 886 here. Got a 786. Close. Actually, if I take this actual swing low here, nice. Pull out my harmonics, give you guys even more confluence, something like that. Okay, boom, that's what I'm thinking for ETH. Either I'm gonna get rid of this golden pocket so it's not as busy. Either you hold this zone where we are now above 29.17, or you wait for the opportunities lower, 26.47, 24.78, and then yearly open lines up perfectly with this 886. So again, that's actually an area I'd be looking for afterwards if this doesn't work out for whatever reason. However, we'll wait. I'm not going to draw any lines here yet, any setups for the 886. Too early for that. All right. All right, how's everyone doing? Everyone okay so far? Looked at BTC, looked at ETH. Everyone understanding? Any questions? Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. Oh my God, it's Mr. Ralph. Let's go. How you doing, buddy? Ralph is one of the best traders I know. Literally shitting you guys not. Don't fade. Do not fade this guy. Wild just breaked. Take a look, please. Maybe. We'll see. E, you know that you're one of my favorites. Don't even lie, bro. Okay. And one more before we look in. One more before we look into some of the requests you guys have. We're gonna, of course, look at Solana. All right. Let's look at our chart that I pulled up. By the way, I am still in ENA spot. This one still looks pretty damn good to me. Overall, guys, you know, you're still holding the bottom side of this wedge here. As you can see, yes, you are making lower lows, but my thoughts are like this. Let me get rid of these little arrows here. If we can push back above this 885 level, then I think that would be a great opportunity for this to go higher and for a possible flip in a long. If BTC does reject here, guys, then I would just be looking for another stab around these lows. And if we do get that, then anywhere around like 7.9 to 7.8, those would be some places I'd be wanting to scout for more opportunities. Personally, guys, like ENA, yes, it's been downtrending well up for a while now, basically since these highs at the beginning of April. But I do think this one has quite the potential for a pop-up. So just being patient here. Let me draw a little arrow so you guys know what I'm looking at. Yeah, that'll work. All right. Pull up Sol here. Ah, it was the Coinbase chart. That's where we go. Okay, perfect. Ooh. If I can find it. There we go, finally. Okay. 3 layouts to choose from. Sometimes it's hard to find my charts, but I do find them eventually. Okay. So here on Sol, the reason I took this long on, I think it was Wednesday, guys. Unlike some other exchanges, we actually did take the lows from Black Saturday here. We took them and closed above them on the 4-hour. You know, initially we lost some with that 4-hour close, but the next one immediately reclaimed, so that was my trigger for the long. And then personally, guys, like, I'm staying in this so long. Yes, we might come down. If BTC does come to retap those lows, then maybe you get something like this on Sol. I doubt you come all the way down to these lows another time. It would surprise me. But overall, above the 50 level on the RSI here on Sol, that's looking good. And of course, as you guys know, the daily on Sol looks fantastic here. This other long opportunity playing out as well. Get rid of these higher levels so you can see what I'm talking about a little better. So looking left here on Sol, you are above 124 support on the daily. You see how this was your swing high being put in at the end of December, basically right on Christmas. And then once we reclaimed that level at the very beginning of March, we sent all the way up to 210. And on that retest of that daily here, had a nice bounce. And once again, and you took the lows here on Binance too. You took the lows on that wick and you're pushing up again. And as a result, you've got another drive of bull divs here. Lower lows on the RSI, higher lows on lower lows on price, and higher lows on the RSI. Similar situation to what I was talking about for, I think it was Ethereum. First drive of RSI bull divs played out with that first push up, but the second drive is valid to me right now. So really, guys, anything above 124, you're in good shape. So just keep an eye on it. All right. Let's continue. Let's see. I know I got a lot of requests in chat, so I'll get to a couple of them by the end, guys. But right now, I think it's just better to focus on some of the ones we already got, and then I'll get you guys in the end. One that looks pretty good here is VANE. So the reason being, you not only have this supply line breaking here, got multiple touches, but you're essentially flipping 4-hour resistance back into support. Not gonna lie, I longed this one already last night, so don't be chasing here is what I'll say. Don't wanna give you guys entries that are FOMOing. Of course, that would just not be smart. But what I would say is you built up a very good amount of 4-hour demand at these levels, as you can see. Not only is it SR, but this 4-hour demand here, SOB, whatever you want to call it. That's where I would be interested in adding to my long. I already took some profits where we are now. I'm not market longing by any means, just FYI. However, you know, you did have a nice retouch of that 4-hour 50 level in the RSI and you're pushing up. So I can't guarantee you this fills because it's pretty strong right now. But if it does fill, then you've got a nice trade on your hands, in my opinion. Very clean looking. All right. All right. And then let's see. I know another one. I've seen a couple of requests for this one, and it's having a nice day today is Ordi. So Ordi is currently flipping 4-hour resistance back into support. You had a 4-hour close above your last lowest 4-hour close of this range, and you already got a nice 2.7% move. However, again, no chasing here. What you want to do is wait for a retest, and what I would be doing is waiting for like a rejection at that OB, coming down for a retest, and then looking for something like that. If you do get that, that's when I would be looking to enter, not before. Okay, so you could even set alerts here if you wanted to try to take a swing, a scalp short at that order block on this 4-hour. I'm not going to tell you to do so or say that it's, you know, a easy short to take, just because, guys, this coin is already up 16% of the day. It's strong, and shorting strong coins is not something that I like to recommend you guys do. However, you can keep your stops pretty tight on this. and basically just it would be closing the 4-hour back above your highs here on this order block, I'd jump out of it. Other than that, no short opportunity for me, because it looks like it's trying to reclaim this level at 40 and make this whole thing a deviation to the downside. Thanks, man. I try with my drawings. I'm no Picasso, but I'd say that it looks pretty clear to me. And then another one that is pretty interesting here is Bonk. Bonk is one of the memes that has actually stayed pretty strong during this dump on BTC. You could make the argument that you've got like a inverse head and shoulders situation here. I mean, you don't really have symmetricity, maybe, if that's a word, on the right shoulder yet. Obviously, I would not, I mean, maybe it's not obvious, but I would not be taking along at current prices. Personally, with this push up, and I don't know if you get this, but it's the only, like, to me, it's like the only thing that I could personally, take a strategic long at would be if you did have another stab back at the lows here. You've got a daily level, you filled the top of the demand here, but you haven't filled the bottom yet, and so the long would be if you do get a fill at the bottom. And then that's something that you could theoretically take to the measured move of your inverse head and shoulders here. But again, guys, like, I don't know if this fills. Hopefully, if you do something like that, then you make the symmetricity needed for the pattern to really be there anyway. But it's not right now. Not saying it's not strong, because it is very strong, but you just, I wouldn't be taking the long where you are right now. Maybe if you flip highs, you could be thinking about that. I'm gonna delete that. And yeah, if you flip highs, then you could start looking for more opportunity there. All right, so someone asked about the recommending positioning, total 3%, assuming 2 DCAs. But if things go south, then do you only actually lose 3%? Or in double that, you end up losing negative 200% or worse? I mean, you shouldn't ever be losing negative 200% on a trade. I don't know. I'm saying, like, you shouldn't be losing, like, that much of your, I'm trying to think of this in the way that you're saying, like, negative 200%. There's a lot of ways you could be thinking about that. Of course, if it's talking about position sizing versus leverage, then that's a huge amount of your portfolio. If you're talking about negative 2%, but you're on like cross leverage, on 100x leverage, then that's, numbers are just numbers. They don't really mean anything. And so what I stress to people is, like, never risk more than 5% of your port on a trade. And so what I mean is, like, with my positioning on leverage, if I have 2 DCAs, I go in with 0.5% of my initial margin at entry. Then I go in with 1% at my first DCA, and then 1.5% on my last DCA. And then overall, yes, you're increasing your risk by going in with higher position sizing at those DCAs, but remember, you're not changing your stop loss when you do that. Like, your stop is closer to your DCA with every single DCA down. So you have to think of it that way. You have to, what I'm telling you to do is, if you're in any sort of leverage trade, you need to pull out a calculator. We all know we full port Max Niels Loves calls. Hey, you do you, right? You do you. You need to pull out a calculator no matter what trade you're taking. Plug in your numbers, plug in your margin at each DCA, what levels, plug in your stop loss, and see how much you would lose if it hits. and then position size accordingly. That's the only way I can tell you to do it. It's not, this is what people don't understand. It's not easy. Like, you can't just plug in numbers in your exchange and just expect to win. Like, you have to do some work beforehand to see how much you would lose, how much you're risking, how much you're risking per trade. Otherwise, you're just going in blind. Yes, I'm glad you guys like are taking a step towards learning and not just like entering my trades blindly without looking at the DCAs, without looking at my take profits, things like that. But you really need to be pulling out these calculators, seeing how much you're really risking per trade depending on where you're DCAing and in regards to your stop loss, in regards to how much margin you're putting on, and go from there. Okay? Yeah, there you go. There's a Binance calculator. Just pull that up on your trades, see how much you would lose depending on how much money you put in to DCAs and that sort of thing. And there you go. And yeah, like Weatherman said, you can make one yourself. It's not really a difficult calculator. They're pretty simple. And there's tons of ones online you can use. You just have to put in the work to do it, guys. And then again, like, they're going to be pretty similar with each call of mine if you do it one time. So once you do it once, you'll kind of get the hang of how much you should be risking per trade, because your port size, if you're doing it right, should go up every time. So you're going to be risking a little more each time because, you know, that's what happens when your port goes up. But other than that, like, it should start to make sense in your head. Yeah, there you go. Just experiment on it and then figure it out that way over time. You got this. You got this, man. Nice, guys. Okay, let's see. Any other ones that I want to look at? Let's look at WIF. I thought it was really funny that people expected this this perfect head and shoulders pattern to just play out. Let me see if I can find the WIF chart that I was looking at. Where are you? One second, guys. I posted it on my Twitter. I just forget what exchange that I pulled it up on. 12-hour Binance. There we go. Okay, so overall, guys, one thing that people need to realize when it comes to these head and shoulders patterns is they hardly work out perfectly. I mean, it's such a huge pattern on higher time frames that it's like everyone sees it the moment the chart pulls up. Do you think that such an obvious pattern like that almost anyone sees is just going to play out? I'm going to say that at least half the time it doesn't. I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt that play off purely off of patterns and how you view them. But as you can see, all the people that fucking shorted this 12-hour candle here that's still closed above support all got wrecked. You mean you're already literally up 30% from that bottom. You can't tell me at this point that WIF shorter succeeded on this pattern already, because a 30% up move from the bottom is already pretty substantial. Of course, from top to where you are now, yes, that's a huge drawdown. I'm not saying shorting this top was a bad idea or anything like that. That was a good plan. I'm saying here, thinking you're gonna catch this 100% move to the downside on WIF. Reason being, guys, is a lot of times with these head and shoulders pattern, you really just need to wait for confirmation. Most people don't. That's the thing. They short support on them. For these patterns to play out, you have to lose support first, and you just hadn't done that yet on WIF. Okay, even if I'm drawing it horizontally, then you're gonna get something like this too. So if I get rid of the diagonal, as you can see, you still held the horizontal support as well. So just be careful here on WIF. I mean, at this point, of course, I wouldn't be longing. You're already coming up to resistance now. As you can see, pulling it across. In terms of, let's see, do you have any daily levels? Yeah, you do have a daily level actually coming up here. So, got a daily right here. Now that you already had your bounce, if you want to be looking for shorts, then all power to you. You've got heavy resistance coming up at this zone. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't take this short here, but I would probably take something like that. Okay. People max shorting the breakdown from neckline without confirmation. Exactly, Ben. That's just not how you do it. So I don't do one-on-one mentoring anymore. I just don't have the time for it. However, I do group classes, and so if you just follow me on Twitter, you'll see when I announce signups for that. Nice. You took the long when it didn't break down on whiff. Good work, man. Good work. Proud of you. Okay, so it's whiff. Let's see what else. If you guys got in with me on Toncoin here, spot, you're up very nicely, 12% up from average price after we filled DCA. This is one I'm holding for a while, and you guys can trim some profit here. I'm just gonna hold. Looks good. AVAX spot looking good that we bought yesterday. Daily bull divs playing out. Keep pushing. What else do we have here? Take a look at Stacks. Stacks is an interesting one. Let me pull up my moving average here. Let's get on the daily. So Stacks is actually quite interesting to me. The reason being, guys, is you very perfectly held the 200 moving average here. You closed above it on the daily. A lot of altcoins look like this. So holding above the daily 200 moving average is crucial. This is a lot. This is primarily, guys, this is areas where you get bounces in bull markets. Like, this is where you get your higher lows and continuation. So honestly, this is my plan. I am going to buy a bag of stacks here, spot stacks, where we are right now. I'm going to be aiming for about $5, and I will DCA at this wick here. You could even take this on leverage if you wanted, and I'd be looking for something like that, because if you start losing, you know, both the daily 200 and the daily 200 exponential moving average, which is this yellow one I have here, then you're gonna probably draw down all the way back to these lows down here, which isn't, I mean, it'll be an opportunity once you get down to here, but I don't want to be I don't want to be stuck in my spot from up here down here, if that makes sense. And just here on lower time frames, I like this pattern here with the candles too. So yeah, looks fine. I like it. Sweet, guys. Okay. So, you guys tell me, because I bet we're about 30 minutes into the stream now. If you guys give me 2 coins you want to look at, that's how we'll finish out today, okay? You got a question, E? Let's take a look at that, and then I'll look at the 2 coins. Have also noticed a lot of members not understanding how to follow analysts. Just because your analyst is good doesn't mean that you have to follow each of their calls. Sometimes you have to take profits even before a TP hits, or even close a trade before you get a notification from them. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, just because I personally put out updates, give my calls that I'm taking, tell you what I'm doing, I'm not you, and I'm not in your financial situation. I'm a totally different person than you. I have a totally different life, and so doing everything that I do is not going to lead to the same results if you try to copy me. It's just not how it works. You need to take profits whenever you feel comfortable, whenever you feel like you're up a significant sum of money that could change your life. Even that, all of those things need to be done on a case by case basis, and you need to take into account your own, like I said, financial situation. Otherwise, I just don't think that's going to work out for you. That's really the only way I can put it. And if an analyst has 20 coins in their spot bags, yeah, no. So that's another thing. In terms of spot, guys, like, if you have a small amount of capital for your port, you shouldn't be jumping into every single spot play an analyst gives out. Or, I mean, not even an analyst, just like, if you see like multiple coins you like on a TA basis, on an FA basis, but you don't have that much capital, you need to make the decision for yourself, to in terms of being like, okay, like, what should I be doing here? Like, I don't have enough capital to jump in all these coins that I like. You need to just have a few high conviction bets, the highest conviction ones that you have, and I would recommend using that capital simply for those. Spreading yourself thin isn't going to help you. Yeah, of course, guys, of course. All right, so we'll look at FET, render, and beam. Yeah, so FET here, of course, like, doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that you're holding support well and you're finally catching some bids here. Only like this looks completely fine as long as you're closing daily levels really above this 1.85 region. You don't have any bull divs or anything like that. Oops. In terms of, you got a 4-hour bullish engulfing candle here, which is good. Got a 4-hour order block now. You are reclaiming 4-hour SR here. Lots of good things. So this looks like it could potentially push higher. So either you get something like this where you push higher, you reject, and then you take a long here, or you long at that order block. And your invalidations for the first trade, you could have them tight, just under this 4-hour SR, or you could have them, you could be in more of like a swing trade mode and just have it to where you're straight up looking for a 4-hour candle close under 1.86, and that's your stops. Either one, it's going to kind of depend on your situation. If you want to be a scalper, then just scalp this level here at, let me just pull this across all the way so you can see it. Scalp the level there at 2.05, and then if that doesn't work out, then you got this order block that I would be looking to take the long on. Just FYI, guys, like, we're going into the weekend, so you don't really want to take a bunch of swing trades going into the weekend. I'm sure you guys know that, but just keep that in mind. All right, and then render also looks quite good. You're holding this 4-hour support resistance level here above $7. Got a potential supply line break here as well. Yeah, I mean it looks good from this standpoint. It's just the issue is like, how do you strategize it from here? The way that I would put it is, it is definitely on the riskier side, but if you wanted to give it a shot here, then you would just have 4-hour stops basically under 7.3 is the way I'd put it, and then you could potentially have a move here like that. Other than that though, you'd have to wait for the lows again for me, or you could depending on where this rally tops, you'd wait for that and then look for a pullback, take some fib pulls, that sort of thing. But overall, you'd be longing now. It's higher risk, of course, because it's already pumped. Like as you can see, from the low of today, you already have a 17% move from the low of Wednesday. So you're already like essentially buying at a premium. Beam is one I do like, especially on higher time frames. Oh yeah, that looks pretty damn good. You've got daily bull divs here. I like that. Fib pull from low to high. You got a 786 hit here. Yep, simple. If you want to play it, it would look something like that. And if that doesn't work out, then personally, I'd wait for yearly open at this 886. Yeah, H-bar does look strong. All right, perfect. So that's going to be all the requests for today. I think one thing that I want to basically share with you guys is that Pepe actually, first of all, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen for a second. For my YouTube peeps, thanks for a great stream. That's all the coins we're looking at today. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week.